right next to you there.
Oh, wow, I get to go first. I'm Patrick Wilson. I work for the Semiconductor Industry Association. I have a strong interest in defense. But my question actually is about priorities, and one of them that affects every single program at the Department of Defense is basic research and a commitment to R&D. I heard the speakers mention that in passing, but it certainly is one of the few areas of defense spending that every single boots on the ground technology touches space, touches terrestrial, touches the sea. And I'm wondering what you think. And this is one of those areas that's hard for conservatives to defend sometimes, because we love to go through the pork barrel spending process saying, oh, well, look, this is set aside for this university or these evil earmarks for this. But what do you think about defending basic research? We think it's essential for our continued U.S.-based manufacturing, but I wonder what you guys think.
Did the light come on?
I think
Okay, I'm sorry. Just advanced technology is way too difficult for a policy guy. Look, I would essentially agree with you, but I think dividing the universe so neatly into what is research and what is procurement has been kind of an unfortunate blind alley that we've gone down. It is true that there's a need to continue to do basic science with our defense needs in mind, but it's also the case, and particularly in the early 90s, there was a fad that we could actually research and partially develop a lot of systems, and because we were confused about what the world would look like, that we could just kind of park those projects at a level of development and then choose selectively which ones to actually procure and build. So I tend to look at the defense, the process of small p procurement as kind of a continuum, and so there needs to be a balance between research and development spending and procurement spending, because again, these are not just laboratory projects that we're trying to advance the frontiers of science in, although that is also true. But again, we want to bring weapons into the field to make sure that on the front lines we retain the technological edge that we have long depended upon and would like to continue to enjoy. So as we go forward, this is one of the things that we would like to stress. Yes, there's a need to bring these technologies forward as fast as possible, but fielding them is really the measure of R&D success. And we stretched out a lot of programs which drove up the costs and didn't put capabilities in the hands of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. One of the, I think, most sensible, simplest, but yet most profound procurement reforms suggested by the QDR panel was to limit that period to about 7 years. Essentially, anything that goes longer than 7 years is likely to have a huge number of cost overruns and to more likely to put obsolescent technology in the field. So we need to look at this system in a holistic manner, and to me that means a healthy balance, both of an adequate level of research but sufficient procurement dollars to be able to bring the new technologies into effective use in the field. Sorry for the long answer.
Yeah, just really quickly. I'm not sure, is this on? Anyway, just very quickly. I mean, one of the real problems that we're facing with the drawdown, the expected drawdown in R&D, and also the drop in procurement, or the drops in procurement that we've seen, is that the underlying industrial scientific base that the country relies on is going to shrink. I mean, it's very hard to go tell the bright young kid from MIT that you're going to hire him to work in your defense industry or intelligence community and tell him you're going to be doing cutting edge work when you can't actually promise that, because the truth is he's going to look around and go, well, this is not where my future the career is going to lie. I'm just as likely to lose my job in 5-6 years as not. So over the long term, there's going to be I think a significant problem if we in fact have to rebuild our military at some point in a significant way because of some unforeseen crisis. It's not so easy just to sort of restart everything and sort of say, you know, we're putting the best and the best kinds of weaponry into the field for our guys and women. So it's a long-term problem that has real repercussions.
Let's go right there.
Colin Clark, DoD Buzz. Is the fundamental argument here between should America do power projection and should America concentrate on the homeland and abandon bases and assets like tankers and long-range strike, or is that the outlier argument, and is there a more solid center? What are you seeing on the Hill?
Is that a question about what the discussion is on the Hill, or what our, what our intent is?
Here, on the Hill.
Uh, yeah, I'm not sure that, alas, I would say the political discussion is not that sophisticated, honestly. I wish that it were, because, again, keep going back to the QDR panel, but it was just interesting to watch knowledgeable people confront these issues. And where the panel came out was that this was an unacceptable choice. So while, for example, understanding that the Navy had been allowed to shrink below what was necessary, nobody in the panel was willing, say, to sacrifice the very modest land force and strength increases that have happened in recent years. The measure of military capability is most intelligently defined by what the goals of the nation are and the strategy of the nation. And as a global power, obviously we have to project power. But again, if you look at what the case has been in U.S. Central Command over the last generation, we began, in 1979, there was no CENTCOM. But over the long-term pattern has been, first of all, an expanding maritime and air presence, but then particularly since 1990, a constant and a constantly expanding land presence. So we are driven by the requirements that the nation, or the military is driven by the missions set by the nation, and it turns out that over the, over the planning cycle kind of years, it's very difficult to simply concentrate on one or two forms of military power, and it always seems to be the case that the things that we think we can do without, such as sizable land forces, turn out to be the things that we most need. Our enemies are paying attention, and if they think that they sense a weakness, that's an incentive for them to try to exploit it. We would love to have that. That's exactly the discussion that we are hoping to provoke.
I would just add quickly that, it is a false choice to think you can protect the homeland, I'd argue, without projecting power, since the United States' vital national interests, touch every part of the world. By default, our military has global reach and global responsibilities to do that. But everything does connect back here to America. So, for example, again, talk about the Navy, a favorite, beloved of everybody, but all of our sea services, the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard included, literally securing the high seas on, below, and above, I argue, would contribute to the fact that when you go to Target, everything is on the shelf there that you need every single day. It's that simple. Now, most Americans don't make that connection because the Navy is out there patrolling and keeping it safe and allowing commerce to flow. I get everything I need at Walmart. But there is a direct link. So I say you can't protect the homeland without doing everything else.
Just one other point, and the reporters here want to write this down because I think it's a headline. Which is, I'm going to.
It makes news.
I'm going to say something nice about Barney Frank. No, I think I don't think the debate's been well joined. It's almost been under the implications of where the budget has been and where it's going have not been thoroughly discussed in connection with the longstanding American grand strategy has been. I think the very useful service that Barney Frank and company have provided with their report on sustainable defenses, they make clear what the alternative is, and that's a useful discussion to have. Mm-hmm. So, at least in that respect, I wouldn't agree with anything they say, but on the other hand, at least now the topic's on the table about how do you put the budget together with the longstanding American strategy and whether to keep that strategy.